guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my March TBR, some books that I for sure am going to read, and that is the manga book club selection for the month. I can't remember what it is, but I'll put the pictures right here, and so I for sure am going to be reading those. This is like a horror manga, and that's pretty much all I know about it, but if you're interested, the link is in my description bar. But other than that, let's get into my TBR game. Alright, so let's roll and see how many prompts I am going to be picking this month. 13. So let's see what the first one is. So my first one is Thrifty Trickster, and that is read a secondhand book, and that works fantastically because all of my books are secondhand. So for this prompt, I am going to pick Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the next book in his Cosmere that I need to read. I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but I know that this is like a sci-fi fantasy or something like that, and there's something to do with some sort of magic. But this will fulfill that prompt. Next up is Fantastical Fortress, read a fantasy book. So I went to my library, did curbside, and got a lot of books. So I have a lot to choose from because I was in a fantasy mood, but I think what I'm going to go with is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I'm not entirely sure what this is about. I just heard Kizzy from Biblio Thoughts talking a lot about this. Sounds like it's about Paige, who is a dream walker, which is a rare kind of clairvoyant, and she works in the criminal underworld of Scion, London. And she gets kidnapped and drugged one day, and she gets taken to a city called Oxford that has been a secret for over 200 years, which is governed by another worldly race, and they are seeking to control all clairvoyance. And she gets assigned as a caretaker to a warden who is her captor and her trainer, and she has to kind of buddy up to him to gain her freedom. So that is going to fulfill this prompt. So next up is Villainous Monologue, read a book that intimidates you. So for this one, I am going to go with The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I'm not entirely sure why this intimidates me. I just feel like maybe the writing has always kind of intimidated me. As far as I know, this is some sort of like Russian inspired. It sounds like it is about a girl named Basilia whose mother dies and father brings in a new wife who is fiercely devoted, but forbids them from telling any stories about demons, which Basilia is like, she loves those kinds of stories. And then the crops start failing, weird stuff starts happening in the forest, and she has to go against what her family wants and use some hidden powers to save them. So I don't know why this has intimidated me, but it does. I'm concerned about the writing because I'm pretty sure this is the one where I've heard some mixed things about the writing. So we will see how this goes. Leap of Faith, read a book you picked off your shelf with your eyes closed. So I'm gonna do this, and if I end up getting something I've read or like in the middle of a series, then I will pick the first book in that series or pick again if it's something I've already read. So I'm gonna go here because the majority of the books that I haven't read are on this shelf, like these paperbacks. So so the book that I got was Hannibal by Thomas Harris. This is the second book in the Hannibal Lecter series. I think this is the second book. I could be wrong. The other one might be the second one. It's either this one or The Silence of the Lambs. I'll read whichever one is the next one in this series. So next up is For the Screams, read a horror book, which is perfect. This fits the manga club pick for the month, so I'm gonna go with that. Prompt that I got was Outfit Repeater, which is reread a book you've already read. For this, I'm going to go with Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan, only because I also have Ruthless Gods from the library, which is the second book. So this one follows two kingdoms. Both have different types of mages, and they are warring, and the female main character is like the last in her kingdom of mages, and she is being protected, and then the other main character is the enemy kingdom's prince who is trying to hunt her down, and she pairs with a like blood mage who isn't exactly what he seems. The first time I read this, I gave it 2 stars. I didn't absolutely love it, but I liked the way that it was going enough that I want to read the second one. So we will see how much I like this the second time around. The second book is significantly bigger, so yay. So next up is shared experience, read a book borrowed from the library, which is absolutely perfect. So for this, I think I am going to go with The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima. This is the first book in the 7 Realms series. I think it might be a trilogy. I'm not entirely sure what this is about. All I know is pretty popular OG YA fantasy, and it's like pretty loved, so I'm hoping this is good. Next up is Beware, read a thriller. So for this prompt, I'm going to go with The Troop by Nick Cutter. This was a buddy read last month, but both my buddy read and I were kind of like, yeah, we're not feeling it. But I still am interested in reading it, and then once both of us read it, we're going to talk about it. But that is going to fulfill that prompt. It is like a bunch of kids, Boy Scouts, that are stranded on an island, or they're camping on an island, and like a creepy guy shows up, and some weird stuff happens, something along those lines. But I'm gonna go with that for this prompt. Next up is Adventures, read a book featuring something you would like to do. So for this, I am going to go with Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moning. This is a paranormal romance, but I'm pretty sure this is about like vampires and stuff, and who wouldn't want to be in a paranormal universe. Next up is Pose for Me, read a book with a person on the cover, which is actually perfect because I got Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas from my library. This is the prequel to The Hate U Give, and this follows Star's father 17 years prior to The Hate U Give sequence of events. His girlfriend, I think, or wife, gets pregnant, and he has to make some decisions about his life and also fight some stereotypes that often follow Black men who have children. So the next one is Down with Corruption, read a book set on a different continent. And for this one, I am going to go with All Scot and Bothered by Kerrigan Byrne. I'm pretty sure this is set in Scotland. This is a historical romance, and I'm not entirely sure what this is about. So this is about him investigating a gambling den that she owns because he thinks that like human trafficking is going on. It's not, but that's what this is about. Also, love it. Next up is Outfit Forgetter, read a sequel, and that is going to be Ruthless Gods. And then the last prompt is Do Better, read a book by a POC author. And for this, I am going to go with Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This follows a girl named Enchanted. Is this like, messed up? Oh, it's cracked. A girl named Enchanted who wants really badly to become a singer, and when she gets noticed by a pretty popular R&B artist, he kind of takes her under his wing, and some weird manipulative shit starts happening, some abusive stuff, and one day she wakes up not having any memory, with him dead on the floor with a lot of blood on her hands, and she cannot remember what happened. This has been compared a lot to the R. Kelly situation, and a lot of people think it's like a fictionalized account. Tiffany D. Jackson basically has just said that it is what happens a lot when Black women are dealing with trauma, and they often are overlooked and just kind of brushed under the rug. So this is going to fulfill this prompt, and that is my March TBR. Comment your thoughts down below on any of the books that I picked or the books that you're planning on reading in March. I would love to hear it. Other than that, that's going to be it, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Thanks so much for watching.